Welcome aboard to this Honda Accord Hybrid. But this isn't just any regular Honda Accord Hybrid. This one gets over 600 miles on the tank, it has a classy design, premium materials, an easy-to-use interior with physical buttons and dials, a digital gauge cluster, a memory driver's seat, great steering feel, and customizable driving modes. Welcome aboard to the 2024 Honda Accord Hybrid Sport L. Let's get started. Now, let's begin with the exterior of this Accord. Now, you might think that it's a completely different generation from that Honda Accord, but it's actually the same body style, believe it or not. All they did was just bring brand new sheet metal into the mix, as well as these brand new LED headlights and turn signals. While the last generation, or the pre-facelift model over there, also had LED headlights and turn signals, these look way cooler and they're a lot more sleek. I personally love the way that they cleaned up this front end. A lot of people don't like the super angled look of the old Accord, and so it's really nice to see that they have cleaned it up a little bit for people that don't want something too crazy. I really appreciate that. Also, it looks sinister in this gray. I've always loved this color on Hondas. It just looks insanely cool. I also love these super clean 5-spoke wheels. I believe these are 19-inch wheels, and they look incredibly clean and really add to the whole clean vibe of the car. I like how there's one simple line going all the way to the back. A lot of people say it looks like an Audi A7, and I can quite see why here, but it looks good. It's done very, very well. But again, a lot of people miss the old school Accord profile. In my opinion, I think the old one was just a little bit messy with some of the body lines, and I like how on the new one they cleaned it up just a little bit. But again, that's up to you guys. That's your opinion entirely. But one area I really like is the rear. I like how they integrated these full LED taillights and LED amber turn signals for the first time. Love the way they did that. And of course, we have the hybrid sport badge back there as well. I love the light bar connecting the back of it together. It looks absolutely fantastic. So with that in mind, the exterior is pretty nice, but I think the star of the show is the interior, which has also been completely redesigned for the 2023 model year. I love the way they have this really clean vent running all the way across, and I love how the air vents are controlled right here. They feel pretty high-end and very nice. Our hazard lights also in here too, which is really nice, and it also continues to the other side. Now the steering wheel has also been changed, and it's really nice too. I love the 993 grips. It feels like something out of a $60,000 car in my opinion, but it's fully tilting and telescoping, giving you loads of configuration to get real comfortable. We also have some nice steering wheel controls. All of your cruise controls are going to live right here. We have lane keeping assist and adaptive cruise control, which is fantastic. You can change the right side of your fully digital display with this little dial right here as well to really customize anything you want, including changing the gauge design. And you can see here it transforms into a variety of different things, and that's really, really fun. And then over here, this one does the same thing. So you can see your phone, the radio, basically just a bunch of input sources. And then over here, you have your volume controls. You can see that it actually goes up quite a bit once you adjust the volume. I love how it's a little clicker. That's really cool. We also have your back and next buttons, which again, awesome to see. We also have paddle shifters, and you're thinking, this is a CVT transmission. How does it do paddle shifting? Well, it actually simulates gears, which is really fun, but in a CVT, do you really need it? You know what I'm saying. But over here we have your turn signal stalks. They feel very premium, and I like how they're perfectly round. So no matter what headlight adjustment you have it in, it stays perfect, and it's very smooth. And then same over here with your wiper controls. That part's also greatly appreciated. So no matter where your intermittency setting is, it's still perfectly round. Over here, we have all of your mirror controls, your left, your right. Over here, you got your lock buttons as per usual. And then these are your automatic windows. The back ones, unfortunately, are not automatic at this price point. But again, you're getting a very nice interior for $36,000. So that's a small trade-off in my opinion. Over here, I really like how we have this power button here. And it even says hybrid on the steering column, which is kind of cool. Love it. They have this soft touch going on down here. Love the soft touch going on up here and here, and it feels very high-end, even working its way down here. This is just cheap plastic in this door panel, and as you can see, there's a lot of room down there too, but again, that's someplace where you're going to be hitting with your foot, so you really don't care about that anyway. Over here, we have this giant touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's incredibly customizable with a lot of different stuff. Plus, we have an infinitely adjustable volume dial. Of course, you can check your phone. You have all your input sources there. That's your CarPlay and Android Auto. You can put in USB sources. You can take a look at your trip computer. And as you can see, we have almost 600 miles of range available on this hybrid, which is absolutely incredible. We can also look at the power flow as well, which can show you your miles per gallon and your range, and it just shows you basically your hybrid system working. You can also see all of your other information here. You can customize this screen, and Apple CarPlay actually allows you to pinch and zoom the CarPlay so you can see this if you want to or not, which I really appreciate. So overall, this head unit is incredibly customizable, and you can do a plethora of different things. I think Honda absolutely nailed it with that, while also keeping a physical volume dial. How cool is that? Down here is one of my favorite parts that they retained. Yes, we have physical climate controls in 2024. They are very easy to jump from low to high on those autumn days, and you can see we just felt the engine kick on right there. So when the engine feels like the need to do so, it will kick on, but otherwise it can run in EV mode. In this case, when we're not really blowing the fan, which is really nice. We also have heated seats, and I like how the heated seats almost look like they have their own screen. So when the car is off, this heated seat icon is not there. Very cool touch. Love how everything is a physical button. Everything just feels so nice. The buttons are so quiet. Everything just has this nice little click to it. It's incredible. And then down here we have two USB Type-C ports, a perfect little spot to put your phone or your key fob. I want to talk about this key fob for a minute. Look at how tiny it is. Isn't that awesome? That's just so cool. And we also have remote start too, which is just freaking cool on a car like this, especially since it's a hybrid. We also have your shifter for your eCVT transmission. Let me demonstrate that real quick. Very easy to use. No manual shift modes, obviously, but you can manual shift with the paddle shifters, even though they are just simulated shifts once again. Down here, we have your drive modes. So even though there's no S mode here, enabling this actually shows you your different modes. So we have normal, we have econ, the infamous Honda mode, we have sport, and we have my favorite, which is individual. Now, what is individual? Well, it allows you to customize every single element of this Accord. So for example, I love to have my powertrain in normal. I don't want it to be revving high all the time. And I want my steering in sport, meaning that I'm gonna get much tighter steering feel, which I just freaking love having tight steering feel, but also it's light enough that I can maneuver, and I love that. And I can change that whenever I want. Same with the adaptive cruise control, and with my gauges, I can change my gauges so they're in sport mode, and you can see that it actually turns the gauges red, which is just freaking awesome. I get nice little red gauges on my digital screen. Again, another benefit of the digital display. But another thing I want to show you guys, as you can see right there, my brake lights are on. Let me take my foot off the brake real quick. You can see that it shows a little icon of the car, and it's correctly indicative of every little thing I do, so I can see exactly what's happening on the back of my car in the screen, which is really cool. We also have your battery gauge there, and we also have your gas gauge over here, so you can make sure that you have plenty of fuel left. So overall, it's a nice blend of digital and analog. Now, working our way down here, we have a fully lockable glove box with an ample amount of storage. Honestly, this is just going to be big enough for a user manual, but honestly big enough for what a glove box needs to be. Now let's take a look at these heated seats. They are absolutely incredible. They even have a little perforation in them, and they have these super comfortable headrests. I think these are a major upgrade from the old ones, and they just feel a lot more uniform. I just like the look of these. I like the bolster supports. It's very comfortable while I'm driving. Down here we have a center console with a latch, and as you can see, we have a 12-volt socket down there and tons of space inside of there, definitely rivaling most German sedans. This button right here, if the camera will go into focus, can enable and disable your EV mode. Now, sometimes it'll override this, saying the EV mode isn't available if, for example, I'm revving the engine too high, or if the hybrid battery is just low and it can't do it. But over here, we have our electromechanical parking brake and our parking brake hold, which is especially nice if you're on a hill so you don't roll. Now that part is fantastic, but up here we have our own sunglass holder. Love to see that. We have our own convenience lights over here, and we have our door controls here, plus sunroof controls for our regular size sunroof. No panoramic sunroof, but that's honestly fine for a sedan in my opinion, and that you can push up and down to open it and let some air in if you want, or not, it's up to you. But over here we have sun visors with dual convenience lights, and if we pull those off to the side, you can see that it's fully extendable, which of course is fantastic. But we're not done yet. I gotta talk about the fact that we have 2 stages of memory seats, something you don't even get in a Camry at this price point. So the front seat of the Accord is a very premium and nice place to be, almost like it's something out of a more expensive car. But let's go ahead and take a look at the back seat of the Honda Accord, where with this seat in my default driving position, I have absolutely loads of legroom and not too bad headroom either, which is pretty nice. Again, the windows are not one touch in the back, but that's perfectly fine. The grab handles have kind of like a hard plastic, but kind of soft-ish touch to them. But again, everything turns to hard plastic once you get into the back seat, including the door panels, pockets. You even lose your door pockets back here, nor do you get any kind of AC at this price point. But the air vents in the front are honestly plenty enough to get to the back from my experience. We do have a door pocket here though, which is quite nice. Over here is your center armrest with 2 cup holders. Love to see that. But overall, the seats themselves are actually pretty comfortable. Again, we have perforation, we have decent bolstering, and we even have built-in headrests as a little bit of a cost-cutting measure, but they cost-cut in the things that, in my opinion, matter a little bit less. We also have grab handles back here still, and we still have a convenience light. So overall, the back seat is very basic in the back of this Honda Accord, but it's really spacious and definitely nice if you're doing like a ride share, if it's a family car, whatever you may need, and there's still plenty of light inside. Again, if the seats themselves feel really nice, then nothing else really matters, especially since you're getting such a nice front seat area as it is. It feels very high-end up there. Definitely a little bit cheaper back here, but again, the seats are still pretty comfortable. But we can fold these seats and go to the back trunk area where we can easily open it with this latch, and it pops right open. I have little hooks here, and again, the space rivals a Toyota Camry. If I put my hand down here, pull this handle up, we unfortunately just get a little patch and sealing kit. No spare tire at this price point, but we have easily shortcuttable seat folding things right here. This does take 2 hands, but with a snap of my fingers and some movie magic, we can gain a little bit more space in our Honda Accord, kind of sort of turning it into a van. The opening is definitely better than something like a Toyota Camry, but again, the floor is not perfectly flat, but honestly, for someone who's buying a sedan, this is perfectly fine. A lot of people won't fold their seats often. Really, you'll fold it just to carry a long object every once in a blue moon. I do wish we had a little pass-through in the center console, but again, not a big deal given that we're getting a really high quality car at this price point. So let's go ahead and close the trunk of the Honda Accord and take a look at the driving impressions. For $36,000, we get a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with 146 horsepower and 134 pound-feet of torque, which might not seem like much, but remember, this is a hybrid, so the combined power output is about 204 horsepower. So right away, I do want to mention that we have that really awesome individual mode. I love to have the steering in sport, and with the steering in sport, it actually gives it quite a bit of steering feel. I mean, even if we pop this into normal mode real quick, you can see it lights up right there, which is really cool. It does make the steering just a little bit lighter. It doesn't change it a ton, but I love the steering feel in this. Definitely, if you like steering feel, this is better than a Toyota Camry for sure. But if you want all-wheel drive, the all-wheel drive is definitely worth it in the Camry because the steering has a little bit more of a feel in the Accord than the Camry, but not by much. They both drive really nice, but I love the power band in this. Let's talk about how the hybrid facilitates the EV mode and the gas mode. So when you're driving at slow speeds, it will be in EV mode, which is really nice. When you pull up to a stoplight, the engine will shut off. You can't turn that on or off automatically. It just kind of does it for you, which a lot of people might not like. But again, having EV mode means you can drive it around silently and you can drive it without having to start the engine at low speeds. You'll sometimes feel the engine kick on a little bit. Like for example, let me try and do that by putting it in drive. You can see that it stays in EV mode. And if I start to roll away once I put my parking brake down, you can see that it's still quiet. And then you can, if I get on it a little bit, you can hear the engine kick on and it's kind of natural. It doesn't feel like it's like shaking the car when it starts the engine. And again, that steering is so nice. The brake pedal is definitely not, they definitely figured out the brake pedal feel a lot more compared to previous Accords. I remember on the previous generations, they were really, really sensitive, but on this one, there's a lot better of a curve and it assures a lot more confidence. But again, you can roll around going like 5 miles an hour or so in EV mode, which is really nice. But when you need the power, it'll give you the power. It accelerates to the speed limit, no problems at all, but definitely I'm gonna miss having that 2-liter Sport with over 250 horsepower. You can't get something with as much horsepower now, but the hybrid will be perfect for most people. The pedal feel is also pretty nice too, even though we have a top-mounted pedal instead of a bottom-mounted pedal. The curve is honestly not too bad, and it's very easy to get used to because the pedal is already pretty close to the floor as it is. So overall, the Honda Accord is really fun to drive. Definitely more fun to drive than a Toyota Camry, but again, if you want the all-wheel drive, you should go with that instead. But the Honda Accord is overall fantastic. From its highly customizable drive modes to all the technology, all the physical buttons, and the classy design, everything just feels amazing in this Honda Accord. And with that, I highly recommend the 2024 Honda Accord Hybrid Sport L. Thank you so much for watching my review of it, and I hope that you guys might consider getting one too. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next review. Drive safe.